appreciate our staff, council, and residents adapting to our teleconference format due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Tonight's meeting will be held under Minnesota State Statute 13D.021 that permits a public body to hold a meeting via telephone or other electronic means due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For members of the public, the meeting is being live streamed on the City of Wyoming YouTube page. The Wyoming City Council meeting will be recorded as part of the public record. After each agenda item is read and staff gives a report on the agenda item, I will call upon each council member individually if they have questions on that particular item. If you wish to make a motion or a second motion, please state your name first. All votes on all items will be completed by a roll call to meet the standard for the state statute 13D.021. Thank you. With that, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. We have the flag behind me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mr. Linwin, do we have anybody for the open forum? You're muted.
Thank you. Iverson, we do not have anyone for open forum.
All right. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Consider approving the minutes of the work session meeting of the Wyoming Minnesota City Council for August 5th, 2020. If there are no comments or questions, can we have a motion to approve? Everybody's on mute.
So moved.
All right. Member Luger makes the first motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Member Schilling.
Member Schilling will make the second, and we will do roll call, please. Member Zeros.
Abstain. I missed that meeting.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. We'll move to number 2 on the council. Consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming Minnesota City Council for August 18th, 2020. If there are no questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved, there was.
We have the motion to approve by Member Zeros. Do we have a second?
Second, Member Schilling.
We have a second by Member Schilling. Roll call, please. Member Luger.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Zeros.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. Number 3 on our agenda, to consider approving the minutes of the special meeting of the Wyoming Minnesota City Council for August 19th, 2020. If there are no comments or questions, can we get a motion to approve?
Member Schilling, so moved.
Member Schilling makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Member Luger will second.
Member Luger makes that second. Roll call, please. Member Zeros.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is aye. Number 4 on the agenda, to consider approving the minutes of the work session meeting of the Wyoming Minnesota City Council for August 26th, 2020. If there are no comments or questions, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Member Luger.
We have a motion to approve by Member Luger. Do we have a second? I can make that second.
Member
Mayor
Schilling
Iverson.
will second. Sorry, my mute is being goofy.
That's okay. So Member Schilling will be that second. Roll call, please. Member Zeros.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. We'll go down to the consent agenda, item number 5 and 6. If nobody wishes to pull anything, do we have a motion to approve 5 and 6?
So moved, there was.
We have a motion to approve by Member Zeros. Do we have a second?
Member Schilling will second.
Okay, Member Schilling will second that. Roll call, please. Member Zeros.
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
Member Luger,
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is an aye. We'll move on to reports from our officers, boards, commissions, and department heads. That would be number 8, 9, 10, and 11 on our agenda. Does anybody wish to pull an item from the department heads reports? Seeing nobody wants to pull anything from that, we'll move on to communications. Number 12, 13, 14, and 15 on the agenda. Does anybody wish to pull an item from the agenda for further discussion? Seeing nobody with that, we'll go ahead and move on to new business, number 16.
Mayor Iverson?
Yes.
Mayor Iverson, sorry, I just want to jump in. We do actually have a matter on old business. We do need to just recap the closed meeting that the council had on August 19th, just briefly, because we did adjourn in closed meeting.
All right.
So I think we need to revisit the approval of the agenda and just amend the agenda to add for old business, recap of the closed session of the Wyoming City Council held on August 19th. And then we'll
All right.
approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion though to add it onto here and have a second onto that, Mr. Linden?
We do need it as part of the agenda, yes.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to add to old business recap of closed session for the Wyoming City Council on August 19th. Do we have a second for that addition?
Second, there was.
We have a second by member Zerwas. Do I need to do roll call on this, Mr. Lunan?
No, you can just do a voice vote.
Okay, so with that, we do need Mr. Lunan, who is our attorney, to do a recap.
Thank you, Mayor Iverson. The Wyoming City Council met in closed session on Wednesday, August 19th, to conduct the annual review for City Administrator Rob Linwood. The review was conducted. There was no action taken at that meeting. The City Council was also informed at that meeting that the administrator contract is up at the end of this year, and those negotiations and discussions regarding the administrator contract for a renewal are underway. And again, no action was taken on that item as well.
All right, are there any questions or comments on Mr. Lunan's statement? If not, we need a motion to approve the closed session of the Wyoming Council on August 19th, right? Am I correct? We need a motion on that?
No, we don't. No, we don't need any motion. We just need a recap on the minutes of what we did in closed session.
All right, and that we did. So we'll move on. You would think I know all of this by now. So, all right. So we're going to move on to new business, which is number 16 on our agenda. Does that mess up the agenda though as well? So are our numbers messed up?
Well, I suppose we would renumber accordingly. The recap would be 16, and all numbers forward would be recapped accordingly. Yes.
Okay, so 17. 18. All right.
We're just making Administrator Linwood's job harder as he puts all the minutes together.
Right. As it goes through.
Yeah,
All right.
we have it, Mr. Lunan. It'll be okay.
All right, so we are going to go to number 17 on the agenda, which if you're following along would be actually page number 84. So number 17 on our agenda, to consider the resignation of Public Works Maintenance employee Michael Jensen effective September 7, 2020, and authorizing the posting of the Public Works Maintenance position. Mr. Umjald, will you be taking this one for us today?
Yes, Mayor Iverson. Good evening, City Council members. Michael Jensen has submitted his letter of resignation from the Public Works Department. Mike's worked here 11 years as a public works worker. He accepted a position with the City of Brainerd. Of course, we'd like to thank Mike for all of his service and wish him the very best. Staff would like to start the hiring process also with winter coming up for a new employee. The position would be full-time and the starting wage would be $23.61 per the union contract. So it'd be our recommendation to accept Mike's resignation as of September 7th, 2020, and start the process of hiring a full-time public works worker.
All right, thank you. I'll open that up for questions. We'll start with member Zerwas.
Well, I hate to see Mike leave. He's been a good employee for the city. But he can't stand in his way either if he's got a better position than Brainerd. We're gonna miss Mike.
Right, thank you. Member Yeager.
Is that 2361, is that like for like a totally new employee without experience?
Yes, Councilman Yeager, I just looked at a union contract for the starting wage as of 1/1/2020.
Yeah.
And it said 23.61.
Oh, okay. But is that like step one, level one? Or if somebody with more experience came in, they would be paid something higher?
Yes, they could be, Councilman Yeager, if they had a lot of experiences.
Okay, thank you.
Member Schilling.
I have nothing to add. It's just sad to see him go, but I kind of understand. I wish I could move to Brainerd.
All right, member Luker.
I have no questions. Wish him well.
And I would also like to wish Mr. Jensen well. I'm probably a little jealous he's moving up to Brainerd too. So he's been a great employee and an asset as well. So I will, we need a motion to approve the authorizing the posting of the Public Works Maintenance position. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Schilling, so moved.
Okay, member Schilling makes the first motion. Do we have a second?
Member
Second.
Luker will second.
There was.
Okay, member Zeros will make that second. Roll call, please. Member Luger,
Aye.
member Schilling,
Aye.
member Yeager,
Aye.
member Zerwas,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. Number 18 on our agenda, to consider resolution 20-09-73, a resolution receiving quotations and authorizing the direct purchase from the Total Control of SCADA software and installation for lift station number 5, number 11, and number 12, in the amount of $13,395. Mr. Elmjeld.
Yes, Mayor, Senate council members. The city has 13 lift stations and we only have 4 left to put on SCADA. The 4 remaining are 3, 11, 5, and 12. Lift station 3, we're scheduling for 2021, so we wouldn't be putting any money into that as we're this close to 2021. So that leaves 3 lift stations without SCADA monitoring. Adding these 3 lift stations this year will make the lift stations capable of be monitored remotely with our Surface Pros. This is the last step to have total remote access to our lift stations. All the components added for the SCADA system can be used in the new control panels when we do rehabilitate the last 4 lift stations. The estimate for the upgrade is $13,395. These funds qualify for the CARES Act. This upgrade would allow a public works worker to monitor all the city of Wyoming sewer system from a remote location. The SCADA system on the lift stations would be an asset in this continued pandemic. So if some of the public works employees were to get infected, it could be difficult to maintain these systems with a reduced staff. Staff recommends approving the quote from Total Control Systems for lift station upgrades to SCADA of $13,395.
All right, thank you. So around the room for questions, please. Member Schilling,
I have no questions.
member Luker,
I have no questions either.
member Yeager,
You said that these 3 lift stations will be rehabilitated at a later date?
Correct. We have 1 a year, so next year will be lift station 3, and then the next 3 on we rate them as they need, which one needs it the most.
And so we would the SCADA would be good when it comes time to rehabilitate the lift station. That's one less thing we'll have to do.
Correct. They just take the radios and everything out of that we purchased now, and they'll put them right in the new control panels.
Okay, all right, so you can just pop them in the new control panels from the old control panels.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Member Zerwas.
No questions.
Right, and I have no questions, so we do need a motion to approve resolution 20-0973, a resolution receiving quotations and authorizing the direct purchase of the total control of SCADA software and installation for lift station number 5, 11, and 12, and the amount of $13,395. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved, there was.
We have a motion to approve by member Zerwas. Do we have a second?
Member Luger will second.
We have a second by member Luker. Roll call, please. Member Schilling,
Aye.
member Yeager,
Aye.
member Zerwas,
Aye.
member Luker,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. We'll move down to number 19 on our agenda, which would be page 91 if you're following along, to consider resolution 20-09-74, a resolution approving the purchase of BS&A software for city operations in the amount not to exceed $147,045. Mr. Linwood.
Mayor, members of the council, this item is being presented to you tonight is one that we've had discussions about over approximately the past year. Staff currently utilizes a software for our fund accounting, point of sale, time card and payroll operations that continues to be problematic. We continue to have issues with it crashing in regards to the support for it as well. And the city also uses a third-party utility billing service that is supplemented by city staff for those operations. And we continue to have some issues with that in regards to some of the consistency issues with that particular vendor and accuracy and timely data entry. And we still have to have staff supplement some of those more complex utility issues and work with our residents and businesses and public works department. As part of that process, we started evaluating different softwares that could handle those capabilities and also look at bringing that utility billing back into house, and then also look at some additional suites that would include a human resource function that would allow for us to track personnel items as those get more complex all the time. I think it's a feature that would be necessary since we don't have a per se individual that is just designated with that role solely as their only job function. The community development suite, and then a planning and zoning items, and then last of all, a software that provides a solution to our building department for inspection services. Something that we would look to utilize these services to really not only provide functions for staff, but also be able to provide better services to our residents, businesses, and contractors. Staff went through and reviewed and received presentations on 3 different systems on this: Civic Systems, Springbook, and BS&A. BS&A is the one that we've had some conversations with council too. We feel that this, for our operations and for some of the demonstrations that we received in some of the surrounding cities that are using it, we really feel this will be most effective for our operations. I did provide the council with a little bit of the cost summary based on the 3, and then that annual cost through that maintenance, and tried to give the council a look at that 10-year cost of total ownership for those 3 different softwares. With that being said, like I said, these are currently used by Hutchinson. It's currently used, this software, by Hutchinson, Alexandria, Dayton, New Brighton, Prior Lake, Shoreview, Victoria, Brainerd, and recently the city of Forest Lake. We are recommending BS&A to the city council to move forward to this transition in software. That would be for the purchase and the city operations and the initial implementation. That would be to approve resolution 20974, and that would be an amount not to exceed $147,045.00. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
All right, Mr. Linwood, I have 2 questions. Can you state what we believe would be the cost savings by bringing utility billing back in-house?
Currently, the third-party vendor we use, we pay anywhere from $30,000 to $35,000 a year for their services to handle that. So there would be a considerable savings annually to bring that back and actually use our present staff, our present staff member that we're in the process of hiring to do those utility billing services for the city and really be able to have that ownership once again.
All right. And then my other question is on BSNA, there was a statement on here, annual service fees, and I'm wondering if you can help me understand what this might be. It reads, after 2 years, BSNA software reserves the right to increase the annual service fee by no more than the yearly consumer price index. Can you give an example of what that might be and kind of what they're talking about and how do we plan for that?
The consumer price index is essentially almost an inflationary tool that usually goes up every year. We did look at that as part of this because it is, you're correct, Mayor Iverson. Something you're looking at, we kind of looked at the last 5 years or since 2016. The consumer price index has hovered anywhere from right under 2%, like 1.8, 1.9, and then about 2%. So I'd say approximately anywhere from that range is 1.6 to 2.1% over the last 5 years annually. So that's what you could anticipate if history obviously keeps going that way, probably that 1.6 to 2% as far as that increase.
Okay, so we'll plan for that in the budget, obviously, then for that increase. And if it doesn't increase, then we're able to put that in the reserves, correct?
That would be correct.
Awesome. All right. So I will go around the room for questions, please. Member Zerwas.
No questions. You asked one of the questions I was going to ask. We got it cleared up. Thank you.
Member Schilling.
Don't have any questions. I just, I'm excited for this. I think it's gonna ease up on staff time tremendously, so.
All right. And Member Luker.
I have no questions either.
All right, Member Yeager.
Well, no questions. They were asked pretty well at this meeting and at the work sessions.
All right, so with that, I need a motion to approve Resolution 20-09-74, a resolution approving the purchase of BSNA software for city operations in the amount not to exceed $147,045. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Schilling, so moved.
Member Schilling makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Member Luger.
Member Luger will make that second. Roll call, please. Member Zerwas.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is an aye. It does pass. Number 18, or I'm sorry, number 20, to consider Resolution 20-0975, a resolution approving an agreement with Abdo, Ike and Myers for the chart of account mapping and project management for the implementation of BSNA software in the amount of $21,500. Mr. Linwood?
Yes, Mayor and council members, this is another item that we've talked about through the implementation of whatever software that we were going to purchase. This is going to be quite an undertaking, and as far as that enterprise resource planning that we talk about, or the ERP, not only to be able to use the services of AEM to do some considerable mapping through part of our financials, and then monitoring that and going through that and going through that live and that implementation support. Staff will be working with them and going through this as well, but I think it will really allow a smooth transition through this. I know that AEM has assisted other cities that have moved forward with BSNA and other softwares, and I think there's value in this as we continue, because this is doing all of our different accounts at once is going to be quite the undertaking, and I think it'll be a lot of work, but I think this will ensure that we have a smooth transition to make sure that everything, when we do go live with this new software, it's going to be a good experience for our staff, and first and foremost for our businesses and residents when they're using those different tools within it.
All right, Mr. Linwood, I have a couple questions. One, staff training on this, will any be around should there be any questions, comments, anything, or questions as we're going forward. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
And then my other question would be this: is there any downtime for our city residents? So if they need to make a payment or whatever, is there any downtime?
It's a good question. As part of the training through BSNA, we will receive considerable training there, but they do have staff at AEM that is very familiar. They have our current finance director utilizes this software in one of their cities, and they have other staff members that use it too. So as far as those resources being available to help with that training, we believe that they certainly will, not only after we go through that training with our normal vendor, but they'll be able to provide it even post implementation of that. So that's something that we believe that they'll bring value in that as well. That was one item that through BSNA that were really something that we had heard consistently is their support is really second to none. That was one thing that really stood out, that support as far as if staff has questions, as far as if we have, any issues when utilizing that software, that it's really very good. So I don't see that as being an issue. And as far as that transition from that go live, that implementation, we don't anticipate having any issues for our residents as far as ones who currently, we may have a brief interruption potentially if someone comes in and pays with a credit card for a permit or utility bill or that online service, but we really want to make sure that that's obviously very quick. And when I say that, hopefully it's a matter of a day or days that we would have that, and we would obviously give residents and communicate that out, that we may have a small period there where we would have that, from taking down the other and then implementing the other. But we're really hopeful that it is that is a pretty much a seamless transition and hopefully no interruption at all. But as we go further into that, we'll certainly communicate that with the council and the residents.
Okay, thank you. Member Zeros, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Member Yeager?
You mentioned that Forest Lake also started using this software. Did they also need a project manager for it too?
They did not utilize AEM for their services. AEM is no longer with the city of Forest Lake, but Forest Lake did not do as robust of a change out as we are. They implemented the building department and I believe one other suite where we are going to be taking on all of our fund accounting and the utility billing and all those other all at once. So this is going to be a much more significant project an undertaking than Forest Lake did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Member Schilling?
I don't know why it does that. I actually have no questions.
Thank you. Member Luger?
No questions.
Perfect. And I have no further questions. So we need a motion to approve Resolution 20-09-75, a resolution approving an agreement with Abdoak and Myers for chart of accounts mapping and project management for the implementation of BSNA software in the amount of $21,500. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Member Zerwas.
We have a motion to approve by Member Zeros. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Member
We have
Lugar.
a second by Member Luger.
For Schilling, also.
Roll call, please. Member Schilling,
Sure.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Member Zerwas,
Aye.
Member Luger,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. It does pass. Number 21 on our agenda, and that would be page 132. To consider a nonprofit grant application and disbursement amount to Chisago County HRA EDA for administration for nonprofit grants in the city of Wyoming. Mr. Linwood.
Yes, Mayor and council members, this is an item that we talked about at our last council budget work session. On August 4th, the City of Wyoming Council, they approved a collaborative grant process that was between the City of Wyoming, Chisago County, and the Chisago County HRA EDA. And that essentially was for small business loans to our businesses, and that would be a contribution of essentially 70% by the county and 30% of that grant amount by the city, up to $10,000. The City Council allocated $60,500 for that business component. As we continue to go and utilize the CARES dollars, the county implemented a nonprofit program, extremely similar to the local business one. And that was, it's the same criteria. Well, it isn't the same criteria, but it's the same eligible amount up to 10,000 for eligible nonprofits. It would work the same way where the county would contribute that 70% and the city would be 30% up to that 10,000. There is an application that has been attached along with this item that shows some of the criteria that those nonprofits have to go through. Staff working with the county has identified approximately 10 nonprofits in Wyoming that would be eligible to fit the criteria of the application. We do have more nonprofit organizations in town, but it's a matter of that they're not, the locations aren't per se brick and mortar, and the place of operations is one of those criteria. What staff is asking tonight from the city council is how much of the CARES Act dollars would the city like to, if you are interested in pursuing this, first of all, and secondly, if you are, how many dollars of the CARES Act money you'd like to allocate towards this. The county opted to put quite a large amount in of $1 million towards the nonprofit in Chisago County. In evaluating that based on the number of just the nonprofits in the county, we think with the number that we have here that would be potentially eligible, staff was recommending that you put towards 30,000 for it. If you did have 10 of those nonprofits that did qualify for up to those $10,000, that 30,000 would, for that initial starting point, would qualify for that. With that, I can stand for any questions that the council may have on this item.
All right, Member Luger.
Yes, I am in favor of pursuing this. I think we have nonprofits in our community that have been hit pretty substantially by COVID. I am also comfortable with staff's recommendation of how many dollars to allocate.
All right, thank you. Member Schilling.
I'm actually going to agree with Claire on that.
Okay. Member Yeager.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I like the idea that all the eligible nonprofits in Wyoming will be covered in funding, by funding.
All right, and Member Zerwas.
I agree with all the rest of the council members.
All right, and I am in agreement. I think that our nonprofits have been hit very well, very hard as well as our businesses. So I think this is a great idea. I'm in favor of the recommendation by staff. Do we need to make a formal motion on this, or was it more a discussion?
If we could have a formal motion that identifying that the council would like to, that you would like to allocate $30,000 of those CARES Act towards that nonprofit grant, that would be appropriate. We need to make sure that we're documenting the use of these dollars.
Okay, so we do need a motion to approve the city contributing $30,000 to a nonprofit grant application and disbursement amount to Chisago County HRA EDA for the administration for nonprofit grants in the city of Wyoming. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Member Yeager.
Member Yeager makes the first motion. Do we have a second? I will second.
Actually, I made the motion.
Oh, okay. All right. So Member Luger made the first motion. Mayor Iverson will make the second motion, and we will go around for roll call. All right. Member Zerwas.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is an aye. This is just always so much easier in person. So even with everybody's names up there, it's just easier altogether. All right. Number 22, which is the last one on our agenda, to consider a special meeting on September 9th, 2020 at 6 p.m. to commence contract negotiations with the International Union of Operating Engineers, local number 49. Mr. Linwood.
Council members, we have two bargaining units of the city, and both those contracts end in 2020. We have heard back from our local 49ers in regards to a proposal. We'd like to share that with the council at this work session to begin those negotiations. We have also contacted the council last time we went through this, elected to utilize Mr. Knutson of Campbell and Knutson for these negotiations. He would be able to be present for this. So we are recommending that we would have a special meeting on Wednesday, September 9th, 2020, and we would do that here at Wyoming City Hall due to that it is for the confidentiality of those labor negotiation strategies.
All right, I'll go around the room just to see if everybody has that date open. Member Luker,
Yep, I'm open.
Member Schilling,
I'm open.
Member Yeager,
I'm open.
Member Zerwas,
I'm open.
and I am open as well. So it looks like we will be meeting at City Hall on September 9th, 2020 at 6 p.m.
Mayor, could I have the council make a motion for that special meeting at 6 p.m.?
Sure. We need a motion to approve the special meeting on September 9th, 2020 at 6 p.m. to commence contract negotiations with the International Union of Operating Engineers, local number 49. I will make that first motion. Do we have a second?
Member Luger.
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Member Zerwas. Roll call, please. Member Luger,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Member Zerwas,
Aye.
and Mayor Iverson is an aye. So we will be seeing everybody together and in one room, September 9th, 2020. So we will do council reports, and I will give Mr. Erickson a heads up. We'll probably be asking how everything is doing over off of Kettle River with our project. So let's start with Member Schilling.
I attended the special meeting for City Council. I attended the August 26th work session meeting for City Council, and I attended yesterday on August 31st. Yesterday was the special commission meeting for Chisago County Sewer Commission. And one of the things we had done is voted in favor of the draft agreement for the operation services through Veolia, I think. Did I say that right?
Correct.
It's pending final review from basically the attorneys and the dots and T crossers. A couple of the things that were discussed as well was they do not have a license for chlorine gas in the quantities that we carry out at the plant. So one of the ideas that they're looking into currently is to have it delivered in under 1,500 pound quantities, so they don't have to attend or get the risk management certification permitting, which can run anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000. The two employees, Deb and Mark, will be leaving at the end of the month, and Dan Zarenbinski, I hope I said that correctly. He chose to become an employee of the company that we're contracting with, so they're in negotiations with him as well. So the union negotiations was put on hold due to that change being made. And I think that pretty much covers it. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Member Yeager.
I attended the special meeting, the budget workshop, and I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
All right, Member Zerwas.
No report.
All right, and Member Luger, did I already say your name? Okay. Member Luger, you're next.
I also attended the special session as well as the budget session, and thank you all for tuning in.
All right, and I attended both of those meetings as well, and then I also attended the Fairview meeting that we had during the day. Was that Wednesday or Thursday last week, Rob, or Tuesday? I can't remember.
Last Tuesday, the 25th.
All right, so that was very informative. I think it was interesting to hear from Fairview. So, and then we have Mr. Erickson, who's going to give us an update on our street projects. You're on mute, Mark.
My apologies. Mr. Linwood, can I please share my screen? I'd like to it's easier to explain while showing you. Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. We're making really good progress out there now. We have really, the project is again broken into three distinct areas. We have area 1 here on the south, area 2 in the center area, then area 3 on the north. And so just a quick update on each area. Area 1 has received the concrete curb and gutter, and all of the concrete driveway approaches have been installed. And so people are now have access back into their properties and into their driveways with the cure time being accomplished. And so we're now looking at concrete curb and gutter being placed on the area 2 starting tomorrow. That'll be hopefully completed by Friday, including the driveways. Again, during this time, it's probably the most inconvenient for property owners. They're not able to get into their driveways. They'll have to have their vehicles out by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and they will be parking on the adjacent roadways to the south until the concrete curb and the concrete driveway aprons are placed. And so again, the most challenging time for property owners. We have indicated that in newsletters. We've put door hangers out, and so everybody is aware of that. They'll have a few days until they can get back and parking on the roadway itself. But again, about a 7-day period before they can drive on those. And so that's pretty impactful for property owners. While they're doing the concrete, and I guess area 3, they're currently working on storm sewer and preparing the roadway, building the roadway section right now as well. While they're doing the roadway here in area 2, they'll stop building the roadway in this section because they're hauling in materials and empty trucks are leaving and coming out this direction. Just too much going on in this area with the concrete curb and gutter crews. So they're gonna fall back from working on the streets here, and they're gonna be working on the boulevard areas and backfilling the curb and getting that entire area dressed up and ready to be restored and get people's lawns back in shape there. So a lot going on in multiple areas, a lot of coordination with property owners. That coupled with school starting next week. Again, that's going to be a challenge for buses to get through some of the areas with construction. So we're working very closely with the school district, the contractor, our inspectors, and all the property owners to make sure that everybody is informed of what's happening, what will be happening, and when we expect things to be completed.
It is definitely one of our more complicated projects and trying to orchestrate everything. So Mr. Erickson, really appreciate all that you're doing and keeping the residents informed on this project. So I'm sure they're very appreciative as well.
Very good. Well, we are on track and on schedule. So we should have this wrapped up here this fall and have a fantastic roadway network for all the residents there.
All right, that's great. So I believe that is it for the night. So we do need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Member Burrows.
I was going to say, it sounds like we all want to stay online here. So, all right. So a motion was made by Member Zeros. Do we have a second?
Member Schilling, second.
Member Schilling is a second, and we're just all on the count of 3. You can say no if you want, but on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Looks like we're adjourned. Everybody have a great night and a great rest of your week. Take care.